continuing Ben Carson and the relationship with African Americans and how he feel of the relationship with Barack Obama. Let's go.
Like most Americans, I was proud that we broke the color barrier when he was elected. But I also recognize that his experience and my experience are night and day different. He didn't grow up like I grew up by any stretch of
That's
the
right.
imagination. Not even close.
He's an African American as opposed to an African
He's
American.
an African American. He was, raised white. Many of his formative years were spent in Indonesia. So for him to, claim that, he identifies with the experience of black Americans, I think is a bit of a stretch.
So you say, sir, talk about the issues, yet you spent a good portion of the interview with Politico last night talking about President Obama's race. Why is that?
Well, I would say go back and read the whole interview. That wasn't very much of it, quite frankly.
I did.
And Politico did put the whole thing out there, so you can see that that's a relatively small portion of it. But here's the real key. America, and many people in America are still very uncomfortable when it comes to issues of race. And, I once again crossed the PC barrier. I don't think anybody would deny that someone who is raised in Hawaii by his white grandparents and then spent formative years in Indonesia with his white mother does not have the typical black experience. If anybody can explain to me how that's the typical black experience, I stand corrected.
The president lived in Indonesia from age 6 to age 10. When you said that he was raised white, can you walk us through what does that mean?
He was raised white. Let's be for real about it. That's why
that doesn't mean anything
he
bad. It's only the
could
PC
not really
police
relate
who
to
tried
black
interpret
people.
that
Let's
as
just be
something
for
bad.
real about
It's
it.
just that
And then having Michelle Obama didn't help him none. Having an all-white cabinet, putting 2 white women in the Supreme Court, and no black people on any important job to help African Americans with the 98% of the vote that he got twice.
Cultural experiences.
What did you experience growing up?
I'm gonna go back so y'all
What
can
does
hear
that
what he
mean?
said.
How should people
I don't think.
President Obama's race? Why is that?
Well, I would say go back and read the whole interview. That wasn't very much of it, quite frankly.
I did read it.
And Politico.
Promo TV.
Politico did put the whole thing out there,
Finesse,
so you can see that
voiceover.
that's a relatively small portion of it. But here's the real key. America, and many people in America are still very uncomfortable when it comes to issues of race. And, I once again crossed the PC barrier. I don't think anybody would deny that someone who is raised in Hawaii by his white grandparents and then spent formative years in Indonesia with his white mother does not have the typical black experience. If anybody can explain to me how that's the typical black experience, I stand corrected.
The president lived in Indonesia from age 6 to age 10. When you said that he was raised white, can you walk us through what does that mean? How should people understand that?
Well, that doesn't mean anything bad. It's only the PC police who've tried to interpret that as something bad.
So what does
it's
it
just
mean?
I'm going to tell you.
Now, you
his
know what it
cultural
mean, Whitey.
experience is vastly different
Sorry,
than
don't mean
that
to call nobody
of the majority
Whitey.
of black
Some people,
who were raised in
they
America.
act like
That's what
they
I'm saying.
naive.
Does it mean that it's worse? No. People are raised in different cultures, and they have different cultural experiences.
What did you experience growing up as a black man in Detroit? What did you experience that is different from the president? Because it seems like you're juxtaposing the two, and that's fair, so walk me through it.
Well, that would take a very, very long time. But the fact of the matter is, I grew up in Detroit and I grew up in Boston. In Boston, we lived in the ghetto. There were a lot of violent episodes there. There were rats, there were roaches. It was dire poverty. I had a mother who worked starting at 5 in the morning getting home after midnight, going from job to job to job. She didn't like the ideal of being on welfare. Most people said, you got 2 boys, you can be an aid to dependent children. She didn't want to do that. Now, let me contrast that to the president, who went to private schools, grew up in a relatively affluent environment. I had an opportunity to live in multiple cultures in different countries. I think that's a very different experience.
Why not criticize President Obama on his policy, on merits?
I wasn't criticizing him. See, excuse me, but that's you guys in the news media who are trying to make it into a fight. I'm just stating obvious facts. Let me
reframe it this way then, if that's what you believe. That's how many people interpret it, I would tell you, Dr. Carson. But why then?
Why? Because you people interpret something that it's supposed to be. You understand what racism is, bitch. So don't sit up here asking them questions like you don't know. You white people kill me like you guys don't know how the fuck we feel when you the ones that's dishing out the bullshit.
What we were talking about.
Kill me with that shit.
You know, I said that I was proud of the fact that
you're a racist. You know what it is to be a racist, right?
Difference in breaking the color barrier in somebody who's had the typical experience versus somebody who has not. And for you and the rest of the media to try to pretend like just because your skin is the same color, it means you've all grown up in the same way, doesn't make any sense. I'm pointing that fact out. You're not supposed to point that fact out because it makes people uncomfortable, and therefore the PC police come down on you. But I will fight them tooth and nail on this. And I will tell you that anybody who's sensible knows that the way that he was brought up is very different from the way that most black people in this country are brought up.
Are you saying then, sir, that if you were elected president, you would be the first truly African American?
That was you guys. That was you guys who said that. I never said that.
I'm asking you, do you believe the headlines that said that this morning?
I believe that all the emphasis on race is way overblown.
Overblown. It's not overblown. It's just something that African Americans should not be going through, being that we were kidnapped, abused, murdered, thrown on the slot in a slave ship, and then everybody want to act like, oh, well, you know, oh, you woe's me. Please, stop asking those stupid questions. Barack Obama's black experience is very minute. I'm sorry. Most pictures I see him in is with his white friends as a teenager, in his 20s, in his 30s, he's with white women, he's with white people, he surrounded himself around white people, and then played the black card and got 98% of the black vote when he won twice, and then look what happened, disaster. So something didn't go right with Barack, something wasn't right from jump. Either he wasn't honest with black people, or he just used us like everybody else, right? Step on the black people today. Whoa, yeah. They're here for you to abuse them. But vote. Vote, black people. Keep the Democratic Party strong. Now they're trying to convince us to vote for Hillary. Boy, This is Pro No TV. You know this will continue. It always does. We'll see ya. Friends, voiceover. Pro No TV. Right? Good luck, Ben Carson. Good luck. You're gonna sure need it. Hey, but you never know. You might be the front runner. Cause Trump, he'll never be president. Pro No TV.